At a fancy jewelry store in the middle of the city, an elderly woman was refused service just because of her plain appearance. No one knew that after leaving silently that day, Mrs. Evelyn Walker, that woman, is secretly planning to change everything. A secret deal, a bold restructuring, and the people who once looked down on her will never know what awaits them. Regal Diamonds, which once represented cold luxury, is about to enter a new chapter full of humanity. And it all started from the moment a woman was misjudged. Welcome to Morality Stories, where everyday stories are told with profound lessons. Today we explore a story about resilience, kindness, and the power of change. Sometimes the smallest things lead to the biggest changes, and this story at a jewelry store will leave you thinking forever. Regal Diamonds, a jewelry store located in a bustling neighborhood, stands out with its sparkling glass windows reflecting the light from the countless diamonds inside. This is the place where the upper class, looking for expensive jewelry to affirm their status, come. On a clear and breezy March morning, Mrs. Evelyn Walker stepped through the store's threshold with a gentle smile. Evelyn, in her 70s, was dressed simply, an old beige sweater, light khakis, and worn loafers. She carried a small leather handbag, the kind that didn't exude any flashiness. She walked slowly but surely along the rows of glass cases, her eyes searching for something in particular. It wasn't the first time Evelyn had been in the neighborhood, but today was a special occasion. She wanted to buy a gift for her 50th wedding anniversary, even though her beloved husband had passed away a decade earlier. He had promised that on their 50th anniversary they would buy a diamond necklace together. Keeping that promise, Evelyn decided to do it alone, as a way to remember and honor their love. However, the atmosphere in the store immediately made her feel out of place. Curious glances from some of the wealthy customers passed her by before they returned to their expensive jewelry. But what bothered her most was the attitude of the staff. A young woman standing behind the counter, dressed in a neat uniform, eyed her suspiciously. She turned to whisper something to a colleague beside her. There was a soft chuckle, as if they were gossiping about her. Evelyn, not paying attention, walked over and pointed to a platinum necklace with sparkling diamonds in a glass case. "Excuse me, could you show me this necklace?" she asked gently, the smile still on her face. The clerk, named Amanda, frowned, her eyes showing impatience. "This bracelet is very expensive, ma'am," she said, her voice drawling. "Is that so? Can I take a look?" Evelyn asked back, not minding the girl's attitude. Amanda sighed, turning to her colleague, the store manager, Jane Dawson, a sharp, well-dressed woman. Jane stepped forward, standing in front of Evelyn, her voice cold. "Ma'am, this necklace costs over $40,000. I don't think it's appropriate for you. We have more affordable items on the other side of the store." Jane's words were like a slap to Evelyn's pride. She felt embarrassed but calmly replied, "Thank you, but I believe I can decide for myself what is right for me." Jane curled her lips, a sarcastic half-smile evident. "Of course, but we can't let people touch expensive jewelry if they don't intend to buy." The entire store fell silent, the eyes of the surrounding customers all focused on Mrs. Evelyn. Some covered their mouths and chuckled, perhaps thinking she was just a poor old woman who came in to look around. Evelyn felt humiliated, but she did not show her anger. She straightened, her eyes cold and hard, looking straight at Jane. "Thank you, I don't think I need your services anymore," she said, and turned and walked out the door with dignity. As Mrs. Evelyn left, Jane and Amanda's scornful laughter echoed behind. But what they didn't know was that the old woman had remembered everything, and this was just the beginning of an unexpected change. Evelyn Walker was born into a middle-class family in a small town in the Midwest. Her parents were hard-working but not wealthy. Her childhood was filled with valuable lessons about patience and perseverance, which she carried with her throughout her life. At the age of 23, Evelyn married Mr. Henry Walker, a gentle and enthusiastic mathematics teacher. The young couple built a simple but happy life in a small house where they nurtured their dream of a warm family. Despite their limited finances, they always tried to save for the future. Henry often said, "We may not be rich in money, but we will be rich in love and kindness." Their lives had many ups and downs, but the big changes began when Henry was diagnosed with terminal cancer. For 3 years, Evelyn worked and cared for her husband. When he died, she lost almost everything, her joy of living, and their meager savings, swept up in medical expenses. After Henry passed away, Evelyn had to start over. She worked all kinds of jobs, from secretary, saleswoman, to accountant, to support herself. However, she never let herself fall. One day, an old friend introduced her to real estate investing. At first, Evelyn just joined to try her luck, but gradually she discovered that she had a good ability to evaluate and see the market. Through her hard work, she began to reap success. From small plots of land, she expanded her investments to larger projects, accumulating a significant amount of wealth over time. But Evelyn did not change her simple lifestyle. She believed money is just a means, not an end. What matters is how you use it. Despite her multi-million-dollar fortune, Evelyn still maintains her old habits, cooking for herself, taking walks in the park, and reading in the evenings. She never shows off or pursues extravagance. Many people who meet her cannot believe that this simple, elderly woman is actually a millionaire. Every year on their wedding anniversary, Evelyn took time to remember Henry. She would sit in the garden, look up at the sky, and talk to him silently. The anniversary gift they had promised each other, a diamond necklace, always bothered her. Not because of its material value, but because it was a symbol of their undying love. That day, when Evelyn entered the Regal Diamond store, she wanted to buy more than just a piece of jewelry. She wanted to fulfill her unfinished promise to Henry, to preserve the memory of her beloved husband. But instead of receiving the minimum respect, she was humiliated by people she did not know. Walking out of the store, Evelyn felt not only hurt but angry, not because of the taunts, but because of the injustice that people like her, people who did not wear the flashy facade. Sitting in her small house, Evelyn thought about what had happened. She recalled every step she had taken to get to where she was today. From the difficult years, the bold investment decisions, to the values she always cherished. She understood better than anyone that no one had the right to judge others based on their appearance. Evelyn told herself that if she didn't do something, people like Jane Dawson and Amanda would continue to look down on others. And in doing so, the self-esteem of those who weren't glamorous would continue to suffer. The idea of revenge flashed through her mind, a plan not only to get justice for herself, but also to teach those people a memorable lesson. But Evelyn knew that this was not something she could do alone. She needed the help of friends she trusted, people who had always supported her through difficult times. With her strong will and intelligence that had helped her overcome many challenges, Evelyn began to prepare for the most daring act of her life. The next morning, as the soft sunlight streamed through the window, Evelyn sat at her desk with a steaming cup of chamomile tea. She had been up all night, thinking about what had happened, and the idea of revenge was brewing in her mind. But to make that idea a reality, she knew she needed a companion, someone trustworthy and experienced enough to support her. She picked up the phone and dialed Richard Miles, her longtime friend and trusted advisor. Richard, 75, was a businessman who had made a name for himself in the retail industry. After retiring, he spent most of his time at his country house, tending his garden and living a life of leisure. "Evelyn, I was surprised to receive a call from you this early in the morning. Is something wrong?" Richard's voice came through the phone, tinged with worry. "Richard, I need to talk to you." "It's very important," Evelyn replied, her voice more serious than usual. "Are you free? I'd like to see you in person." 2 hours later, Evelyn and Richard met at a small coffee shop on the outskirts of town. Richard appeared in a simple but elegant suit, his eyes curious when he saw the serious look on Evelyn's face. After ordering coffee, Evelyn began to recount the whole incident that happened at the Regal Diamonds jewelry store. Richard listened intently, occasionally frowning or nodding. When Evelyn finished, he leaned back in his chair and folded his arms. "It's unbelievable, Evelyn. I can't believe they would do this to you, but I know you're not the type to let this go." Evelyn gave a small, meaningful smile. "That's right, Richard. I don't want to just forget it like it never happened. People like them need to learn that no one has the right to judge others by their appearance." Richard nodded, his eyes flashing with approval. "Do you have any ideas in mind?" "Yes," Evelyn said, her voice firm. "I want to buy that store." Richard paused, then burst out laughing. "That's very much your style, Evelyn. You want to get even, but not just confront. You want to dominate the game." "I didn't do this for revenge," Evelyn explained. "I wanted to change the way they operated. I wanted the store to be a place where everyone, no matter who they were, was treated with the same respect." Richard smiled, admiration clear on his face. "That's a bold plan, Evelyn. But to execute it, you'll need a good strategy. Have you thought about your next steps?" "I need your help, Richard," Evelyn said frankly. You have experience in retail, and I know you've done some very successful acquisitions. I'll also need a good lawyer to handle the legal side of things." Richard nodded. "I'm willing to help you. As for a lawyer, I know a man named Thomas Grant. He's one of the best in the business. If you want, I can introduce you." "Thank you, Richard. I know I can trust you," Evelyn replied, her eyes filled with determination. The two then spent hours hammering out the details. Richard explained how to approach the deal in a subtle way, keeping it under wraps until everything was done. He suggested that Evelyn use a middleman to buy the store, keeping her identity a secret until the last minute. As the meeting ended, Evelyn felt part of her plan form in her mind. Before parting, Richard said, "Evelyn, you are a strong woman. I am not helping you just because we are friends, but because I believe you can make a difference. Leave the rest to me." Back home, Evelyn looked around her small room. Henry's picture on her desk seemed to smile encouragingly at her. "Henry, I will do this not just for myself, but for all those who have been looked down upon," she whispered. That evening, she began to make all the necessary preparations. With the support of Richard and soon Thomas Grant, she knew she was ready for the biggest journey of her life. 2 days after meeting Richard, Evelyn Walker sat in the office of Thomas Grant, a veteran lawyer known for his ability to handle complex and sensitive business deals. His office was located in an old building. The dark wood interior gave a feeling of solidity and power. Thomas, a man in his 50s with graying hair and sharp eyes, listened to Evelyn tell her story. When she finished, he paused, leaning back in his chair and rubbing his chin. "Interesting," Thomas said, his voice low but clear. "You want to buy Regal Diamonds to teach the employees a lesson and improve their business philosophy. A very humane idea, but also a challenging one." "I'm not afraid of a challenge," Evelyn replied, her eyes lighting up. "I've overcome greater difficulties my whole life. What I need now is a clear strategy and solid legal support." Thomas nodded. "Okay, here's what we'll do. You'll set up a holding company, a new legal entity that doesn't have your name attached to it. This company will handle the purchase of the store. I'll handle the legal paperwork and make sure everything stays confidential until the deal is done." "And the price?" Evelyn asked, her voice calm but curious. "We will start by approaching the current owner. Regal Diamonds is a private store, not part of a large chain, so it is possible to negotiate directly with the owner. I will check their financial information to determine the actual value. Then we will propose a number that is attractive enough that they cannot refuse." Evelyn nodded, feeling the plan becoming clearer. "How much time do you think we need to complete this?" "If everything goes well, from start to transfer of ownership, I would estimate about 4 to 6 weeks, Thomas replied. "But there is one important thing. Evelyn, you must keep it absolutely secret. No one, not even those you trust, will know about this plan except me and Mr. Richard. You can rest assured. I will not let anything affect this plan," Evelyn affirmed. The next day, with Thomas's assistance, a middleman company called Emerald Enterprises LLC was formed. All legal documents were handled discreetly, ensuring that Evelyn's connection to the company was not revealed. Meanwhile, Richard uses his connections to find out about the current owner of Regal Diamonds, a businessman named Franklin Hughes, who has run the store for years but is recently looking to get out of the business. Franklin is an experienced man, but from what Richard can gather, he is no longer very enthusiastic about the business. This opens up a great opportunity for Evelyn. Richard and Thomas set up a meeting with Franklin to discuss the matter. With his skillful negotiation skills, Thomas presented an attractive proposal. Emerald Enterprises was willing to buy the store at a price higher than its market value in exchange for a quick and hassle-free transition. Franklin, after a few days of deliberation, agreed. Throughout this process, Evelyn remained calm and reserved. She went about her daily life as if nothing had happened. She read, walked in the park, and chatted with neighbors, but her mind was always on the project that was about to be completed. One evening, as she sat in her small living room, she looked at the picture of Henry on the table beside her. Her eyes softened, but a voice echoed in her mind. "Henry, if you were here, would you advise me to do this?" She smiled, as if hearing her late husband's answer. Henry had always believed in her abilities, and Evelyn knew that he would support her in standing up against injustice, not only for herself but for others. After 4 weeks of intense work, the final papers were signed. Regal Diamonds was officially owned by Emerald Enterprises, which was actually owned by Evelyn Walker. Franklin Hughes left satisfied, unaware of Evelyn's true plans. The night before the deal was announced, Evelyn sat down with Richard and Thomas to prepare for the next step, her surprise appearance at the store. She knew that tomorrow would be a special day, not only for her but also for those who had misjudged the value of a human being. "Tomorrow, everything will change," Evelyn said, her eyes blazing with determination. Richard smiled, placing his hand on her shoulder. "Evelyn, you have done what very few people dare to do. Not only am I proud of you, but I can't wait to see their faces when they learn the truth." Mrs. Evelyn nodded, taking a sip of tea. They will remember tomorrow forever. The next morning, the atmosphere at Regal Diamonds seemed no different. The employees continued to work as usual, but no one expected the big storm that awaited them. In the luxurious conference room on the third floor of the central office building, the final steps of the store acquisition were being taken. Franklin Hughes, the current owner of Regal Diamonds, sat across from Thomas Grant. With a neat suit and confident demeanor, he signed the final documents, officially transferring ownership of the store. "Just sign it and it's done, right?" Franklin asked, his tone relieved. "That's right," Thomas replied with a professional smile. "On behalf of Emerald Enterprises, I would like to thank you for your cooperation. The transfer will be quick and easy. You have nothing to worry about." Franklin nodded in satisfaction, shook Thomas's hand, and left the conference room, completely unaware that the person behind Emerald Enterprises was the woman whose shop he had once humiliated. Meanwhile, Evelyn sat in another corner of the building, sipping tea and looking out the window at the bustling street. Her hands were shaking slightly, but not from nervousness but from excitement. The plan had worked, and she was now officially the owner of Regal Diamonds. That afternoon, Evelyn appeared at Regal Diamonds, but this time she was not simply a snubbed customer. Dressed in a neater outfit, but still maintaining her usual casual look, she stepped through the glass doors, her eyes scanning the lavish space. The staff were busy serving customers and no one noticed her presence. But not long after, a man in a suit, a representative from Emerald Enterprises, walked in, followed by a few assistants. He tapped his hand on the counter, attracting the attention of all the staff. "Hello, I am a representative of the new owner of Regal Diamonds. As of today, this store has changed hands. The new owner will have some important announcements for all of you soon." The store fell silent. The employees looked at each other, unsure of what was happening. Jane Dawson, the store manager, was the first to step forward, trying to maintain a professional demeanor but unable to hide her anxiety. "We have not received any notice of a transfer," Jane said, her voice sharp. "Who are the new owners?" At that, Evelyn stepped forward, a calm smile on her face. "Hello, Miss Dawson," she said, her voice soft but authoritative. "It's nice to see you again." The room froze. Jane stared, unable to believe what she had just heard. Amanda, the clerk who had despised Evelyn, stood frozen behind the counter. You are," Jane stammered. "That's right," Evelyn interrupted, her eyes unwavering. "I am the new owner of Regal Diamonds, and I'm here today to clear up a few things." Mrs. Evelyn walked slowly towards the counter, her eyes scanning each employee. Silence fell. Everyone could feel the seriousness in her every step. "When I first walked in here," Evelyn began, her voice clear, "I was treated with contempt and disrespect. But what you don't know is that that day changed my life completely, and now it will change this store too." Jane tried to keep her composure, but sweat was already starting to bead on her forehead. "Madam, perhaps there has been a misunderstanding." "No, there is no misunderstanding," Evelyn said, interrupting. "The disrespect shown by the staff here is not something I will tolerate, and I believe that customers should not tolerate it either. Regal Diamonds will no longer be a place that only serves those who appear rich enough or important enough to the staff." The store remained silent. Evelyn continued, "I want to announce that we will be undergoing a complete overhaul. Anyone who is not willing to change their attitude towards service will no longer have a place here." Jane opened her mouth to say something, but Evelyn raised her hand, silencing her. "And Miss Dawson, as manager, you will be primarily responsible for the service culture I have observed here. So I regret to say that today will be your last day working at Regal Diamonds." Evelyn's words hit the tense air like a hammer. Jane stood there, unable to believe her ears. Amanda and the other employees looked at each other, their faces filled with shock. As Jane quietly packed up and left, Evelyn sensed a subtle change in the atmosphere of the store. The remaining employees, though bewildered, began to realize that a new era had arrived. Evelyn was more than just a proprietor. She was determined to make this store a place where every customer was respected. Evelyn stood in the middle of the store, looking around calmly. This was just the beginning, but she knew she had laid the first bricks for a great change. On Evelyn's first day as the official owner of Regal Diamonds, the atmosphere in the store was filled with surprise and anxiety. After firing Jane Dawson, the previous manager, Evelyn decided to hold a meeting right at the store to officially announce the change and new direction. She stood before the gleaming glass cabinets, once a symbol of luxury and power, now the source of great change. The remaining employees gathered before her, their eyes a mixture of disbelief and fear. "First of all, I want you to understand that I am not here to destroy anything. I am here to rebuild," Evelyn said, her voice soft but firm. "Regal Diamonds has always been a symbol of luxury, but that does not mean we have the right to look down on anyone who walks into our doors. From today on, things will change." Amanda, the employee who had looked down on Evelyn, stood at the back of the room, her eyes troubled but still trying to maintain her composure. After a moment of silence, she spoke, her voice trembling slightly. "Madam, I don't understand why you want to change the way we do things. Regal Diamonds has always served high-class customers. That's what built our reputation. If you change, will customers still trust us?" Evelyn turned back to Amanda, giving a small smile. "I understand what you're saying, but you're wrong. You think catering to rich people is the only thing that makes this store valuable. The real value isn't in the money customers spend, but in how they're treated." The room fell silent. Evelyn continued, "A customer doesn't need to be dressed in fancy clothes or wear an expensive watch to be respected. A customer who walks into this store, no matter who they are, has the right to be treated with sincerity and respect. That's how we build lasting trust." Amanda bowed her head and said nothing more. The other employees, although they did not speak, also began to feel the seriousness in Evelyn's words. "To make this change, I will not keep anyone who is not willing to go in the same direction as me," Evelyn said, her eyes scanning each face. "But for those who want to stay, I will provide you with all the support you need to learn and improve. This is not just a jewelry store. This is a place that will bring real value to every customer." She paused, then announced, "From today on, all employees will attend customer service training. I have hired a customer service expert to help you understand the importance of respect and sincerity in your work." Some employees breathed a sigh of relief, feeling that Evelyn had not come to destroy their work, but to improve it. However, not everyone felt the same way. Some, like Amanda, remained skeptical. In the weeks that followed, Evelyn worked tirelessly. She began to make changes in the smallest details, the layout of the store, the way employees interacted with customers, and even the decoration of the display cases to make them feel more intimate rather than distant. She took the time to talk to each employee individually, listening to their ideas and concerns. While many were initially skeptical of her intentions, through honest conversations they gradually realized that Evelyn truly wanted the best for both the store and her staff. In a short time, customers began to notice the difference. People who had once felt out of place when they walked into Regal Diamonds were now greeted with friendly smiles and respect. An older woman in a simple sweater walked into the store one morning to browse some rings. The newly trained staff not only enthusiastically introduced her, but also listened to her story about the wedding anniversary gift she wanted. When she left, she took not only the ring but also a satisfied smile. That was exactly what Evelyn wanted to see, a change not only in appearance, but in the spirit of service. However, not everything went smoothly. Some of the former employees, who had grown accustomed to the selfish and customer-obsessed way of working, began to show discontent. They felt that Evelyn's changes were not in line with the class of the store. Some decided to leave, including Amanda. Evelyn, however, was undeterred. She knew that only those who were truly committed and willing to change could help her build the future of Regal Diamonds. By the end of Evelyn's first month in charge, Regal Diamonds began to receive positive feedback from customers. Several social media posts praised the store for its friendliness and excellent service, something that had never happened before. Evelyn knew that, although the road ahead was long, the beginning was successful. She stood in the middle of the store at the end of the day, watching the diamonds sparkle in the glass cases. This was more than just a store. It had become a symbol of a business philosophy she believed in, respect and honesty were more valuable than any diamond. 3 months after taking over Regal Diamonds, Evelyn Walker became more than just a new owner. She became a change agent, bringing a whole new look to the store. But to achieve that, Evelyn knew she needed a clear strategy and a strong determination to face the challenges. Evelyn began by reviewing the entire store's operations. She not only overhauled the staff, but also overhauled management and redefined her business philosophy. First, she hired a team of experts to redesign the store's interior. We needed to create a space where every customer would feel comfortable, Evelyn explained to the interior architect she hired. This space should not only showcase jewelry, but also speak to warmth and sincerity. Under her direction, glass cases that had previously been set high and distant were lowered to make them more accessible to customers. Lighting was adjusted to create a more intimate and comfortable feel. Small seats were placed along the display areas, inviting customers to relax rather than just stand and look. With her old staff failing to meet her needs, Evelyn made a bold decision: replace them with people who were dedicated and had the right attitude to serve. She organized a new recruitment drive, looking for candidates with the most important qualities: sincerity and empathy. During an interview, a young woman named Lila, who had just graduated from college and had no sales experience, left a deep impression on Evelyn. Lila told Evelyn about her volunteering in senior support programs and understood the importance of respect in communication. "We don't need a salesperson, Lila," Evelyn said after the interview. "We need someone who is willing to listen and share. Welcome to the new team at Regal Diamonds." New employees like Lila bring a breath of fresh air to the store. They not only learn how to advise on products, but also receive training in communication and customer service skills from experts Evelyn has hired specifically. Along with the team reorganization, Evelyn introduced a completely new business philosophy: every diamond shines brightest when handed over with sincerity. She encourages her staff to focus not only on the material value of the product, but also on the meaning behind each piece of jewelry that customers choose to buy. During the training session, Evelyn shared her personal story about a necklace she wanted to buy to commemorate her love for her late husband. "Sometimes the real value is not in the diamond, but in the story it carries," she said. "If we can listen to our customers and help them tell their stories, we can add more value than any piece of jewelry." The transformation of Regal Diamonds quickly attracted attention from the community. Customers who had been overlooked now felt respected and welcomed. A young couple, who came into the store for the first time to buy wedding rings, were moved by the attentive service they received from Lila. "We don't know what kind of ring to choose," the young woman said, her eyes worried. "Our budget is limited." Lila smiled, handing them a pair of simple yet elegant platinum rings. "Don't worry about the value of the rings. What matters is the story of the two of you and the meaning it carries. Choose what feels right to you." The couple left with big smiles, and the story quickly went viral, becoming one of many examples that exemplified the store's new philosophy. Within 3 months, Regal Diamonds sales began to improve significantly. Not only did its wealthy customers continue to shop, but so did new customers who sensed the difference in service. Positive reviews flooded social media, with many praising Regal Diamonds as a jewelry store that puts human values above material values. Evelyn knows that this is just the beginning of a long journey. She still has a lot of work to do, but she believes that with the new team and the right business philosophy, Regal Diamonds will continue to thrive, becoming a symbol of respect and sincerity. One evening after the store closed, Evelyn stood in the quiet space, the lights reflecting off the sparkling diamonds. She smiled, feeling satisfied. Regal Diamonds was more than just a store, it was now a place to spread the values she had always held dear. After restructuring Regal Diamonds, Evelyn Walker began to focus more deeply on reinforcing a new business philosophy: respect for customers is respect for yourself. For Evelyn, this is more than just a slogan, it is the guiding principle for every action, decision, and strategy of the store. To ensure that all employees were imbued with this philosophy, Evelyn held weekly intensive training sessions and brought in customer service expert Harold Benson, a veteran of high-end retail, to lead the way. In the first training session, Harold started with a question: when a customer walks into the store, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? Lila, the new employee, replied, "I think about how to help them find the most suitable jewelry." Harold nodded. That's a good start, but it's not enough. The first thing you need to think about is, what's this customer's story? What are they here for? And how can we be a part of their story? Evelyn sat in the back of the room, nodding in agreement. She understood that to make a difference, her employees needed to learn to listen and empathize with customers instead of focusing solely on selling. In one practice session, Harold posed a hypothetical situation. A young customer came in to buy an engagement ring but was on a tight budget. The staff had to find a way to advise the customer in a way that respected their financial capabilities while also helping them feel confident in their choice. Lila, who has been increasingly demonstrating her superiority, says, "I would encourage clients to focus on the meaning behind the ring rather than its material value. I can share that a simple yet heartfelt ring is always the most meaningful gift." Evelyn smiled when she heard that answer. She knew that her team was starting to understand the spirit she wanted to convey. Under Evelyn's leadership, Regal Diamonds has become more than just a jewelry store. It is a place where meaningful stories connect. Every week, Evelyn spends time listening to the experiences of both employees and customers. These stories not only help her understand her customers better, but also inspire her to continue to improve her services. One day, a middle-aged man walked into the store, carrying an old photograph. It showed a young woman wearing a simple but beautiful necklace. "This is my wife," he said, his voice low. "She passed away last year. I wanted to find a necklace like this for my daughter's birthday, so she could have a memento of her mother." Lila, who took over the story, spent more than an hour searching the warehouse and contacting suppliers to find a similar necklace. When he received the necklace, the man could not hide his emotions. He bowed his head in gratitude, saying that this was the most meaningful gift he could give his daughter. Evelyn, upon hearing the story, asked her team to record it and share it with the entire staff. "This is why we do this," she said, "not for sales, but for meaningful moments like this." Evelyn's efforts not only improved the customer experience, but also changed the way her employees viewed their jobs. They no longer saw themselves as just salespeople, but as contributors to customer delight and memorable experiences. One day, a regular customer of Regal Diamonds, Mrs. Margaret Stevens, an elderly and wealthy woman in the area, visited the store. Mrs. Margaret was a picky person who usually only bought expensive items and was rarely satisfied with the service. But this time she did not come to shop. "I just wanted to say you guys did a great job," Margaret told Evelyn. "I've seen a huge difference in the way you treat customers, even those who don't look rich. That's something I've never seen in this store before." Evelyn thanked Margaret, and the story quickly spread throughout the community. More and more customers from all walks of life came to Regal Diamonds not only to shop, but also to experience a space filled with respect and sincerity. 6 months later, Regal Diamonds was no longer just a jewelry store. Under Evelyn's leadership, it had become a symbol of human values in business. Articles in local newspapers and on social media praised the store's transformation, with headlines like "From Cold Luxury Store to Symbol of Humanity." These achievements do not make Evelyn complacent. She knows there is still work to be done to ensure this philosophy lasts. But standing in the store at the end of a workday, looking at the smiling customers leaving and the enthusiastic staff, she feels a deep sense of satisfaction. Regal Diamonds has changed not only how it operates, but how it creates meaning. And for Evelyn, that is the greatest success of her life. While the changes at Regal Diamonds have yielded positive results, Evelyn Walker knows that any transformation is not without its challenges. In her quest to transform Regal Diamonds into a symbol of honesty and respect, she has faced challenges both internally and externally. Some former employees who were used to the old work culture and were reluctant to adapt to the new philosophy began to express dissatisfaction. They felt that Evelyn had overdone it by placing too much emphasis on service attitude and no longer prioritizing sales as before. During a staff meeting, Mark, a longtime employee of the store, stood up and said, "Ms. Walker, I understand that you want to change for the better, but it's not always possible to please all customers. Sometimes the old way of doing things works better. I think focusing on the important customers is what we should do." Evelyn did not interrupt. Instead, she listened calmly. After Mark finished, she said, "Thank you, Mark, for your opinion. But let me ask you something. Who decides who is a key customer? Is it us or is it them?" Mark was silent, not answering. Evelyn continued, "Every customer who walks into this store is important in their own way. We don't just sell jewelry, we sell trust and respect. If someone leaves feeling disrespected, we not only lose a customer, but we also damage our reputation. Evelyn's words silenced the conference room. However, Mark and a few other employees remained secretly hostile. A week later, Mark and two of his former colleagues decided to leave. Despite the loss of experienced people, Evelyn felt no regret. She knew that only those who were truly willing to change would accompany her. Not only did Evelyn have to deal with internal issues, she also had to deal with customers who were used to the traditional Regal Diamond service. Some wealthy customers felt uncomfortable seeing the store become more popular when ordinary people were now being served with the same care. One day, Mrs. Margot Hensley, a long-time and upper-class customer, came to see Evelyn. With a serious face, Mrs. Margot said, "Evelyn, I cannot understand why you changed the way the store is run. Before, I felt special when I shopped here. But now, I see people who are not of high class coming in, and that is devaluing Regal Diamonds." Evelyn was not surprised by this comment. She replied, her voice calm but firm, "Margot, I understand how you feel. But true value lies not in who we exclude, but in how we treat everyone. If Regal Diamonds jewelry is only valued by the person wearing it, then it has lost its true meaning." Though dissatisfied, Margot left without further argument. Evelyn knew that it was impossible to please everyone, but she believed that her new philosophy would find a place among the open-minded. Another challenge came from competitors. Some of the larger jewelers in the area began to spread rumors that Regal Diamonds was going downhill by catering to middle-class customers. Their advertising campaigns were aimed squarely at the wealthy, with the implicit message, "Only we can deliver the real luxury experience." Evelyn knew this was a tactic to discredit Regal Diamonds, but instead of fighting back, she decided to focus on building a positive image. She hosted events at the store, inviting both middle-class and upper-class customers to attend, to create an inclusive space. A memorable event was the special exhibition called Stories from Jewelry, where customers shared their personal stories associated with the jewelry they owned. This event not only attracted media attention, but also highlighted the core value of Regal Diamonds. Each piece of jewelry has a special meaning, regardless of its material value. Despite the challenges, Evelyn was undaunted. She took the time to encourage her staff, encouraging them to continue to maintain their spirit of dedicated service. One evening after the store closed, she held a private meeting with her core staff and said, "We are not just building a store, we are building a legacy. There will be skeptics, naysayers, but if we stay true to our values, I believe time will prove us right." Evelyn's words inspired the entire team. They started working not only for sales, but also for the pride of being a part of this great change. After a few difficult months, Evelyn's efforts began to pay off. Regal Diamonds not only retained its existing customer base, but also attracted many new customers who were attracted to the store's unique business philosophy. Evelyn knows that her journey is still long, but when she sees the smiles on the faces of her customers and the enthusiasm of her staff, she knows that the challenges only make the achievements more meaningful. As time passed, the changes that Evelyn Walker brought to Regal Diamonds gradually showed clear results. From the store layout, the staff service style, to the humane business philosophy, all created a new breath of life, helping the store enter a different era. Customers who had once felt overlooked returned to Regal Diamonds and were surprised by the dramatic change. An elderly woman named Mary Coleman, who had been turned away because she wanted to look at a small item, walked into the store again. This time, Lila, the young employee, greeted Mary warmly and listened to her tell the story of the bracelet she wanted to buy for her granddaughter's graduation. Lila took the time to introduce Mary's budget-friendly options and added a heartfelt word of encouragement. "Your gift will definitely make her feel special." When Mary left, she not only brought back the beautiful bracelet but also a satisfied smile. She did not forget to say thank you. This is how a real jewelry store should treat its customers. Such stories quickly spread. Not only did the average customer feel more comfortable coming to Regal Diamonds, but also the wealthy customers began to see the value in the new service philosophy. One day, a young man walked into the store. He was dressed in a simple workman's uniform and worn shoes, and was clearly not the type of customer typically seen at Regal Diamonds. But under Evelyn's guidance, none of the employees were judgmental or condescending. The man, James, said he was looking to buy an engagement ring for his girlfriend. "I don't have much money," he said shyly, "but I want to give her a ring that means something." Lila, with her acumen, not only advised James on a ring that fit his budget, but also asked him about his story with his girlfriend. James shared that they had overcome many difficulties together, and he wanted the ring to be a symbol of their lasting love. Lila helped James choose a beautifully crafted silver ring with a small but brilliant stone. "This ring is not only beautiful but meaningful. Its true value lies not in its appearance but in what it represents," she said. As James left, he said emotionally, "I didn't think I could find a place where people not only cared about the money I had, but also understood my story. Thank you so much." James' story was later shared on social media, receiving thousands of likes and positive comments. Many praised Regal Diamonds for breaking down barriers between customer classes and creating a space where everyone is appreciated. The changes not only have a sentimental value, but also contribute significantly to the store's sales. Customers from all walks of life flock to Regal Diamonds, not only for the beautiful jewelry, but also for the feeling of being welcomed as part of the family. Evelyn also noticed a marked change in her staff. New employees like Leela were not only working for a paycheck, but also for the pride of being part of a greater mission. They gradually became ambassadors of the new philosophy, helping to spread the values that Evelyn had laid the foundation for. Former employees who were once skeptical also gradually changed. One of them was Emily, who had been Jane Dawson's assistant. Emily was initially reluctant to support the change, but after witnessing the positive response from customers and the growth of the store, she changed her mind. "Ms. Walker, I have to admit that I didn't believe in your approach at first," Emily confessed in a meeting. "But now I see that you were right. The way we treat our customers not only changes them, but it also changes us." Evelyn smiled and replied, "Emily, change is a difficult journey, but I am so proud to see you embark on this path with us." The innovation at Regal Diamonds has attracted media attention. An article in a prestigious magazine reads, "Regal Diamonds, from a symbol of luxury to a place to celebrate sincerity." The article praised how Evelyn had completely transformed the store, turning it into a space where every customer was respected and treated fairly. Evelyn agreed to an interview with reporters. When asked about the motivation behind the changes, she said, "For me, Regal Diamonds is more than just a jewelry store. It is an opportunity for us to do the right thing. I want everyone to walk out of here feeling important, no matter who they are or how much money they have." The first steps of Regal Diamonds not only marked Evelyn's initial success, but also laid the foundation for bigger plans in the future. She began to think about expanding this philosophy to other stores or even turning Regal Diamonds into a famous brand with the core value of charity. Standing in front of her store at the end of a busy day, Evelyn watched the customers stream in and out, their faces bright and happy. Pride filled her. This was not only her success, but also proof that kindness and sincerity can change everything. By the end of Evelyn Walker's first year at the helm, Regal Diamonds had not only maintained its position, but had achieved unprecedented success. Sales had grown exponentially, but more significantly, the store had become a symbol of sincerity and respect, attracting customers from all walks of life. Evelyn sat in her office, looking at the latest sales report from her accounting team. The numbers on the spreadsheet made her smile. Regal Diamonds had grown sales by 25% year over year, an impressive feat for an independent jeweler. "Mrs. Walker, not only are we attracting more new customers, but our return rate has also increased significantly," Emily, now the store's new manager, reported. "It's not just about the jewelry, but how we make our customers feel appreciated," Evelyn replied, her voice filled with pride. The once neglected middle-class customers are now a significant part of the store's sales. They not only buy small items, but also refer friends and family to Regal Diamonds. This creates a domino effect, making the store a popular destination for those seeking respect and meaningful experiences. Stories about Regal Diamonds continued to spread in the media. An article in Business Today praised the way Evelyn had transformed the store from a cold, luxurious place to a warm, inclusive space. "Regal Diamonds doesn't just sell jewelry, it sells stories," the article said. "Every diamond, every necklace here is handed over with sincerity, making customers feel more valued than ever." Evelyn was also invited to appear on a television interview show. When asked what inspired her to make these changes, she replied, "My life has taught me that a person's true worth is not in how they look or how much money they have. I want Regal Diamonds to be a place that reflects that philosophy, a place where everyone feels valued. Her interview quickly became a hot topic of conversation. Old customers came to the store to share their stories, while new customers were curious to see for themselves the transformation Evelyn had brought. The staff at Regal Diamonds are now not only salespeople but also storytellers and ambassadors of human values. Every day at work, they try their best to bring joy and satisfaction to customers. One day, Leela, the store's top employee, was called into Evelyn's office. Evelyn gave her a thank you card and a small reward. "Lila, you've done a great job," Evelyn said. "I can't imagine what Regal Diamonds would be like without your dedication." Lila was moved, but she humbly replied, "It's all thanks to you, Miss Walker. You taught us that this job is not just about selling, but also about giving respect and kindness." The unity and enthusiasm of the staff has become a strong driving force for Regal Diamonds to grow. Evelyn also regularly organizes meetings to listen to the opinions of the staff and ensure that everyone feels like an important part of the team. To celebrate a successful year, Evelyn decided to hold a special event at the store called the Diamond Gala and Our Story. The event was not only for customers, but also invited employees and partners who have accompanied Regal Diamonds throughout the journey. Today is not only a celebration of Regal Diamonds, but also a celebration of the values we have built together. Evelyn told the crowd at the party, "I am very proud that this store is not just a place to sell jewelry, but also a place to preserve meaningful stories." The event was a great success, with hundreds of guests attending. Many shared their memorable experiences with Regal Diamonds, from wedding gifts, anniversary gifts to emotional stories associated with the jewelry. The success of Regal Diamonds did not make Evelyn complacent. She knew that maintaining the values she had built would require constant effort. She began planning to expand the brand, but not in the traditional way. "I don't want to just open more stores," she told Emily and her management team. "I want to bring our philosophy to more places so that anyone, wherever they are, can feel the value of sincerity and respect." Evelyn proposed the idea of community programs where Regal Diamonds would partner with non-profit organizations to support people in need. She believed that by spreading human values, Regal Diamonds would not only be a brand but also a legacy. As the day ended, Evelyn walked out of the store and looked up at the starry sky. She felt a sense of relief, as if her late husband Henry were smiling down on her from afar. She whispered to herself, "Henry, we did it. And this is just the beginning." Despite her success, Evelyn Walker knew that real change didn't just come from those willing to go along with her. For Regal Diamonds to become a symbol of authenticity, she needed to confront those who had once rejected and even looked down on her. Surprisingly, those same people, over time, began to change. One winter afternoon, when the store was quiet, Evelyn sat in her office going through documents. There was a soft knock on the door. When Evelyn looked up, she saw a familiar face, Jane Dawson, the former store manager who had been fired on her first day in charge. Jane stood there, her eyes no longer sharp and arrogant, but hesitant and a little apologetic. "Mrs. Walker," she said, her voice shaking, "I know I have no right to be here, but I really want to talk to you." Evelyn asked Jane to sit down and listen. Jane confessed that after being fired, she had faced many difficulties in her life. She realized that her arrogant and disrespectful attitude not only cost her her job, but also the trust of many people around her. "Mrs. Walker, I used to think you were someone who didn't understand this business," Jane said, her eyes filling with tears. "But when I saw the changes you made, I realized I was wrong. I didn't come here to ask for a job, I came here to apologize." Evelyn was silent for a moment, then smiled. "Jane, recognizing your mistakes and admitting them is a big step, but I believe everyone deserves a second chance. If you truly want to change, I am willing to help you start over." Jane couldn't hide her emotion. "Thank you. I promise I won't let you down." Evelyn suggested that Jane enroll in an internal store training program to learn not only sales skills, but also how to treat customers. Jane agreed, and over the next months, she not only improved herself but also became one of the most dedicated employees at Regal Diamonds. Around the same time, Evelyn received a handwritten letter from Amanda, the young employee who had mocked her the first time she entered Regal Diamonds. In the letter, Amanda explained that after leaving the store, she had experienced many events, from rejection at other workplaces to difficulties in her personal life. I used to think I was better than everyone else just because I worked at a fancy store, Amanda wrote. But the truth was, I didn't understand the value of respect and kindness. She taught me that lesson even though I didn't realize it at the time. I hope one day I can make amends. Evelyn responded to the letter by inviting Amanda back to the store for a chat. When they met, Amanda admitted that the transformation of Regal Diamonds had left her with a lot to think about. "You've not only changed the store, but the way I see the world," she said. Evelyn decided to give Amanda a second chance, but only if she committed to working with a completely new attitude. Amanda agreed and gradually became a model employee, always putting the customer first. Evelyn understands that not everyone can change, but she believes that kindness has the power to transform. With people like Jane and Amanda, she sees the value in giving others a second chance. She often tells her team change is never easy, but it is always worth it. If we can help someone become a better version of themselves, that is our greatest success. The return of Jane and Amanda is not only their own story, but also a motivation for other employees. These stories become living proof of the Regal Diamonds philosophy: every person has value, and everyone deserves respect. Customers, knowing these stories, also feel more attached to the store. They come not only to buy jewelry, but also to witness the change and feel the spirit that Evelyn brings. One day while standing in the store, Evelyn saw Jane coaching a new employee on how to interact with customers. "Don't just sell products," she said with a smile. "Get to know their story and show them that they matter." Evelyn smiled with satisfaction. She knew that the values she brought were beginning to permeate the culture of Regal Diamonds. When an employee asked her, "Don't you find it difficult to forgive people who have wronged you?" Evelyn replied, "If I only look at their mistakes, I miss the opportunity to see who they can become." Forgiveness is not weakness. It is how we create strength through change. Regal Diamonds is now more than just a jewelry store. It is a place that brings hope and opportunity to everyone. Evelyn understands that the greatest success is not the numbers, but the change in the hearts of the people who once confronted her. Standing in front of the store at the end of the day, Evelyn looked at the glittering diamonds, feeling satisfied that she had not only changed a store but also changed the lives of many people. After a year of incredible success, Regal Diamonds is more than just a jewelry store. It has become a symbol of positive change, a place where people come not just to buy precious items but also to experience respect, kindness, and meaningful stories. But for Evelyn Walker, this is not a destination, but just the beginning of a larger journey. Evelyn began receiving letters from all over, not just from customers but also from people who had never visited Regal Diamonds. They wrote to share how her story inspired them in their daily lives. One young woman wrote, "I used to be afraid to go into luxury places because I thought I wasn't classy enough. But your story changed my thinking. I learned that my true worth is not in my clothes or my wallet, but in how I treat people." Evelyn could not hide her emotion. She understood that by changing the way she and those around her saw things, she had created a ripple effect far greater than anything she had ever imagined. With increasing attention from the media and the community, Evelyn was invited to be a speaker at many events. At a business conference, she shared about her journey. Business is not just about profit. If you want to be successful sustainably, build your business on real values. At Regal Diamonds, that value is respect. Every customer, every employee, every person who walks through your door deserves to be treated with sincerity. Her speech received thunderous applause. Many entrepreneurs and leaders approached her after the seminar, asking for advice on how to apply the same philosophy to their own work. Evelyn realized that Regal Diamonds could be a model for other businesses. She began to develop the idea of expanding the brand, not just to increase sales but to spread the values she had always pursued. She and her management team planned to open a new store in a different part of the city, but with a unique approach. This store would not only sell jewelry, but also have a space for the community. "We can do storytelling sessions where customers share pieces of jewelry that have special meaning to them," Evelyn said during a team meeting. "Or we can do charity events to help those in need." Emily, now Evelyn's right-hand woman, enthusiastically replied, "That's a great idea. I believe it will help us connect more deeply with the community." Jane Dawson, a former manager who was fired, now becomes a mentor to new employees. With Evelyn's guidance, she learns to put compassion above all else. One day, Jane comes to Evelyn with a file in hand. "Mrs. Walker, I want to thank you for giving me a second chance. And I also want to propose a new program to support disadvantaged young people who want to study jewelry. I think we can train them and help them find suitable jobs." Evelyn smiled, feeling proud to see Jane had completely changed. "Jane, you have not only changed yourself but also helped change others. I support this idea wholeheartedly." Amanda, who left Regal Diamonds with regret, has returned a changed person. After attending the store's training program, she has become not only an excellent employee but also an inspirational story for her colleagues. Amanda often shares with new employees, "I used to think this job was just about selling, but Evelyn taught me that everyone who walks into the store has a story, and our job is to help them continue that story." As summer approached, Evelyn held a small ceremony at Regal Diamonds to mark the milestone year. The store was filled with the light of diamonds and the laughter of customers, employees, and former employees. In her speech, Evelyn said, "Today is not only a celebration but also a reminder that we can change the world in our own way, starting with the smallest things." Regal Diamonds is more than just a store, it is a testament to the power of sincerity and respect. After the ceremony, when the store had closed, Evelyn stood alone in front of the glass case, her eyes fixed on a simple platinum necklace, the one she had wanted to buy the first day she had walked in. Evelyn gently took it, as if seeing the shadow of Henry, her late husband. "Henry, we did it," she whispered, "and I know you'd be proud." In the soft glow of the late daylights, Evelyn felt that this journey was not just hers, but that of all those who believed in the value of kindness. Regal Diamonds was more than just a store, it had become a legacy, a symbol of the positive change that Evelyn Walker had worked so hard to build. And that journey, she knows, will continue inspiring generations to come. Today's story reminds us that the true value of a person is not in their appearance or possessions, but in the way they are treated. Respect and kindness are always a solid foundation for building lasting relationships and success. Remember, sometimes just a small action of yours can change someone else's life. If you find this story meaningful, don't forget to share it to spread good values. And join us at Morality Stories to discover more inspiring life lessons.